Being a broke entrepreneur was probably the worst thing that I've ever done or felt in my life, honestly. You feel like you have all of these ideas and all of this potential, but for whatever reason, life just isn't working in your favor. For me personally, it was in real estate, right? And I had all the knowledge. I was watching all the YouTube videos. I was doing the outreach, the cold calling, the late nights, the early mornings, you name it. But I was a broke ass entrepreneur. Like, it's just no other way to put it. And there were so many days when I wanted to give up and just say, bruh, screw this shit. But I never did because I was in somewhat of a conundrum where entrepreneurship wasn't working and I was discouraged, but I knew that I wasn't an employee, right? And it's not that I couldn't go get a job and do well. It was that I would have felt like I was robbing myself. I would have felt like I was settling for lesser. And I decided to stick it out. And I've been blessed enough to find success in my entrepreneurial journey. But if I could go back in time and have a conversation with the broke entrepreneur that was me, this video is basically what I would deliver to that version of myself. Number one on that list of things I would say is, if you're a broke entrepreneur, it's incredible because you have more opportunity now than you ever will. Because if you're a broke entrepreneur, that means that you haven't figured out what works yet, right? And if you haven't figured out what works in your favor, then that means that there's so many things that you can try, right? In the rabbit hole, you only scratch the surface. If you're not getting any money, then that means you're still on the surface. And it's not pivotal for you to say, how can I get beneath the surface? No. What's pivotal is to figure out, okay, cool. How can I take my efforts where I'm at right now and develop and build the skills, right? So for example, if you're in an e-commerce business and you're not getting traffic to your pages, right? That's a great opportunity to learn how to run ads. And learning how to run ads is gonna pose you its own set of problems. And these problems, every single problem that you hit in your entrepreneurial journey is an opportunity for growth, because once you X a problem off of the list, you become that much better. And now you can take that skill set and bring it back into the business. And oftentimes, this happened to me a lot. I would learn a skill, go down a rabbit hole because I was learning a skill, and it would lead me into another opportunity. For example, real estate didn't work. Fast forward, I end up getting into fitness. I've always been somewhat of an athlete and I wanted to hold on to my fitness. I got laid off from my job. So I said, fuck it, let me just get certified. I ended up getting certified as a trainer and I really fell in love with this fitness thing. And I was having trouble building a sales funnel because this is during the pandemic. So I'm like, okay, I got to find a way to do my thing virtually, do my thing online, get people to see that I'm the answer to their problems. And that led me down a rabbit hole of learning how to build sales funnels, build the landing page, send out email blasts. And I was terrible at it. I was really, really bad at it, but it was working. It was working. And when it started to work, I realized, like, okay, I need to actually get better at this, because the email marketing, I'm not selling my fitness through there. Really what I'm doing is I'm building a relationship with the people, right? I got all these people on an email list and I'm trying to sell them something, but why would they buy from me? They're going to buy me. They're not looking to buy fitness, right? They're looking to buy the coach. So I began to work on how I was formulating my messages. I took copywriting classes. I took creative, colorful language classes, and I learned how to talk in this grandiose way and paint a picture where people see themselves in it. And as a result, that led me into the executive coaching space. And now all of a sudden, I go from real estate to fitness to coaching C-suite executives. And now I'm coaching financial advisors and business coaches, and I'm basically helping them to perform at their highest levels, right? All because I decided I wanted to learn how to make my sales funnels just a little bit better, right? So if you're a broke entrepreneur, you got to understand that life is more ripe than it's ever going to be, because the more skills that you build up, the more complex your problems are going to be. And it's not going to be as simple as, okay, I learn how to solve that problem. I'll go down a rabbit hole and boom, like I find the answer. Nah, like then you enter the territory of, yeah, you develop your skill set, but now you need to connect with the right people at the right time and do the right thing. It's only going to get more complicated. So if you're a broke entrepreneur, you need to work on a couple of things specifically. You need to work on your consistency, and not just a regular consistency, not just saying, oh, I'm going to show up every single day. That's cool, but it's also quite elementary. You need to work on the systems of consistency, because it's one thing to say, I'm going to show up every day. But how are you going to show up every day matters more than just showing up every day, right? And depending on how you want to show up, you probably can't show up every day that way. Maybe it's more like twice a week. And you start to understand that less might just be more. And oftentimes less is more, because less means more intention. The less reps, the more intention, right? But if it's going to be less reps, make sure you have systems in place that are going to keep you going regardless of how you feel. And that leads into thing number 2, is you have to separate from your emotions. Your emotions are over here, and reality is over here. Your emotions are going to tell you if you're going in the right direction. Your emotions are your intuition. That's your gut feeling. Stop eating bullshit. It fucks with the gut feeling. Stop eating bullshit. It fucks with the gut feeling. Use the feelings to, you'll know your feelings, your gut, it's going to let you know if you're going in the right direction. And if your gut is like, okay, yeah, I can see how this could work out for me. Cool. That's enough of the emotions. Now you get into your pocket and you start building the systems and figuring out how to show up. You just show up. If on the other hand, your gut is like, I don't really know. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Go the other way. And you might find yourself in limbo for a second, but that's a whole lot better than going against your gut intuition. 100% of the time when I've gone against my gut, it hasn't led me to anything positive, right? So I listen to my gut every single time. You have to listen to your gut. You got to. You're going to take bumps and bruises wherever you go. You're going to get your ass kicked if you decide to take it easy, if you decide to take the steps, if you decide to work smart and not hard. You're going to take your licks, right? With that being said, make sure you're taking the right licks. You don't want to just get your ass whooped, have to U-turn and then come back to where your gut told you to go to begin with. I've been there, and it sucks. I'm telling you. So once you do build the systems, once you do learn how to listen to your gut intuition, you have to just ride the roller coaster, and you have to find ways to enjoy it. Willpower is something that I used to lean on because I was a little bit younger, right? Now I'm 30. And when I was in my early and mid 20s, I could be like, yo, I'm going to make this work. Like, I'm going to work. Like, I never stop. That's my number one trait. My number one quality is I will never give up. And that's awesome, but I'm human, and it's only 24 hours in a day, and I get tired, and sometimes I get emotional, and sometimes, things might take precedent over the business. And if it does, I don't want to fight those battles. A great book recommendation is Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he talks about when you're building new habits, you want to make it easy to succeed, right? So willpower is one of those things that says, I don't care what's in front of me, I'm moving mountains. Well, that takes a lot of muscle, right? What if you don't even have to put yourself in that position to use all that muscle, right? Because after you use muscles a lot, what do you have to do? Recover. So don't even put yourself in a position where you got to use all that muscle, because none of this shit is hard to begin with. On God. It's hard emotionally being a young broke entrepreneur, but in reality, it's not that hard, bro. You got the world in front of you. You have opportunities left and right. And all you have to ultimately learn to do is control yourself and follow your own word. And we're going to close the video out on this note. There's a word that you've probably heard of. In fact, I know you've heard of the word. The word is accountability. And accountability is essentially trust in your future self. Your future self is trusting you now to keep your word. If you build up this accountability within yourself, you're good, man. You're good because you'll be able to give your word and stick to your word. And when you can give your word and stick to your word, you begin to develop. And development is so essential, bro. You begin to develop through the processes of life. It don't matter if it's, a summertime or if it's a wintertime. You're going to develop and grow through these seasons. And you'll be able to take the skills that you've learned along the way and bring them into every single chapter of your life. Even when you get in your tail kicked, you're going to have the skill set in your back pocket to use to propel you forward. And you learn that even those low moments in life, they're not losses. They're lessons, right? You're going to learn a whole lot more from the down moments than you do from the up moments. That's how life is. So when you're in a winter season, embrace the winter season. It's not going to feel good. You don't got to lie and tell yourself you're happy if you're not. It's okay to be a human being, but just learn how to use that shit to your advantage, right? If you in a dry season with no clientele, take that time to build up you and build up your system so that when the clients do start to roll in, because they will, they always do, you're prepared to serve them. You feel me? So, yeah, if you're a young, broke entrepreneur, it's okay. It's not about the money. It's about the development. You continue to develop yourself, and as a byproduct, you begin to earn income, and you begin to reach new heights that you could have never imagined. All right? And it does take time. It could take a little bit of time, or it could take a lot of time, but your job is to just show up each and every single day, right? Click the links in the description box to work with your boy or to join my school community. I would love to chop it up with you. And I'm going to see you in the next video, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe as well. Yeah.